I was minding my own business when I noticed everyone was giving me weird looks. What's wrong? I turned the corner and saw Cynthia and her followers blocking my locker. Oh, great!
There she is, the girl that's into old men.
Aw,
is it because you don't have an actual dad, so you found yourself a sugar daddy instead?
OMG! What is she talking about? Everyone was gawping at me, and her friends burst out laughing. Panicked, I turned around and ran to the restroom. Those girls are so vile. How can they have taken such a simple situation and manipulated it? I locked myself in the cubicle and didn't dare come out. A knock at the door caused me to flinch, but then I heard a familiar voice.
Nicole? It's me, Olivia.
Are you okay? I opened the door and saw my friend standing there, looking at me with concern. She hugged me, then led me out into the hallway where Miss Barnes was waiting for me. The rumors had reached her, and she wanted to talk to me about it. Sweetie, I want to help you, but you need to tell me everything. I had nothing to hide, so straight away, I told her everything about Sean, who's my karate teacher. We became friends since we shared the love for guitars, killer karate moves, and old-school punk rock bands. When I finished, she said, "To be honest, I find it a bit peculiar that a man his age is choosing to spend so much time with a young girl. I think it's best I have a little chat with this Sean. So please, can you give him a call and invite him over?" Sean came straight over, and as he chatted to Mrs. Barnes in her office, I nervously waited outside with Olivia. I'm just a girl without a dad. Sean is kind, and he treats me like his own daughter. What Cynthia said is cruel and untrue.
Don't worry. No one believes Cynthia. They all know what she's like.
A few moments later, Sean stepped out of the office. He scratched his head as he told me to say goodbye to Miss Barnes and Olivia, as he was driving me home. In the car, I asked, "What did you say to Miss Barnes that made her agree to let me go with you?" I said that the child would be around your age. Huh? What did he mean by that? Then he continued, "Nicole, I have a long-lost child. I've been desperate to see them and be in their life, but it didn't work out like that. Then I met you, and I found myself bonding with you as if you were my own child." Hearing that, I asked right away, "Sean, would you like to be my dad?" He gave me this dumbfounded look, so I excitedly continued, "I mean, you're single, right? So's my mom. Why don't you two meet up and have a date? Just give it a try, please." Whoa, if Sean was my dad, my life would be fantastic. I smiled from ear to ear, seeing him bewildered. In my head, I instantly began planning their first date. Eek! This was the most exciting thing ever! But my good mood soon evaporated, as waiting for me on the doorstep with crossed arms and a stern expression was my mom. This was definitely not the time to introduce them, so I quickly thanked Sean and hurried inside. "Who's that man?" she questioned me. "I received a call from Miss Barnes, so I've been waiting for you. Who is that stranger?" "He's my karate teacher. He's just—" Then Mom interrupted me. "Why exactly is a man double your age choosing to spend time with a teenage girl?" "Don't worry, Mom. When you meet him, you'll see what a great guy he is." The next day, I arranged for them to have a lunch date at this quaint cafe in town. But the moment Mom walked in and saw him, she turned ghostly pale. Sean was also surprised. He stuttered, Louise? My mom cleared her throat. Ahem! Sean? This was confusing. I looked back and forth at them as if I was watching an intense game of tennis. So, they knew each other? Oh well, less time wasted on getting to know each other. So, I'm gonna leave you to it. I waved at them, then hurried out of there and sat on a bench nearby. But it hadn't even been 5 minutes when Mom stormed over. "Let's go!" and dragged me away. "I forbid you from seeing that man again!" What was happening? I was freaking out as I followed her. "Mom, Slow down! At least explain why! I shouted, but she bundled me into the car, then drove off, red-faced and silent. Through the car window, I saw Sean run outside of the cafe and stare at me with a saddened look on his face. Mom, you know him? I asked. She said, "That's none of your business. You just have to know that you are not allowed to see him ever again." Why? I yelled as I started tearing up. He's nice to me. Why can't I be friends with him? Because you have to listen to your mother. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Sean. I picked up, and he told me to turn the speaker so he could talk to Mom. "Louise, it's me, Sean." Mom gave a startled yelp and told me to hang up, but I ignored her. Sean continued. "Louise, listen. Is Nicole my daughter?" What? Did I hear him right? Can someone please explain what was going on? "Louise, tell me. Is Nicole my daughter?" Mom snatched the phone off me, ended the call, then threw it onto the back seat. I was too overwhelmed to find any words to say, so we both sat there in shocked silence. The moment we entered our house, seeing that I was desperate to speak, Mom spoke up first. "Nicole, please don't ask anything. I'll explain later, okay?" I really wanted to know what had happened between them, but I knew there was no reasoning with Mom when she was being like this. So I quietly went up to my room. I couldn't sleep, as too many thoughts were buzzing around my head. Could Sean really be my dad? I mean, I'd never met my real dad, and whenever I asked Mom about him, she got super defensive. Mom and Sean clearly had history. So what if we're actually related? Unsurprisingly, I couldn't concentrate in school. I kept on yawning in class and playing over yesterday's events over and over in my head. When school's out, to my surprise, Sean was waiting for me at the school gate. We went to a coffee house, and there he told me the truth. "Back in high school, I fell in love with my classmate. After a while, she suddenly told me she was pregnant and broke up with me. I definitely wanted to support and care for both of them, but she refused, then moved away. The last thing she told me was to stay away and never ever look for them." Before I had time to process his words, he smiled at me and continued. "Nicole, I believe that you're my daughter. But first, we need to talk to your mom and have her clear this up." Whoa, this was a lot to take in. But at the same time, it was also pretty awesome. I was so happy I had a father. And better still, it was Sean. I took Sean to my house to talk to Mom, but just as we stepped inside, I got a message from Olivia. "Check your social media. Cynthia's just posted something about you." Oh no! There was a photo of me getting into Sean's car with the caption, "Need tips on getting a sugar daddy? Ask Nicole." I freaked out. Now, thanks to Cynthia, everyone would misjudge me and make fun of me. I was so furious that when Mom walked over, I couldn't hold it in anymore. "This is all your fault! Now everyone believes lies about me, and it's all because you won't tell me the truth." Mom gave me this hurt look, sighed, and softly said, "You're right. I do owe you both the truth." Then she turned to Sean. "When I told you I was pregnant, that was a lie." What? How could she lie about something like that? "I didn't want to be with you anymore, but I was too scared to break up with you decently. So I made that story up, believing that it'd scare you away. But when you said you'd stick around and support us both, I panicked. So I moved away to college and found a new boyfriend. Then I fell pregnant with Nicole. But this boyfriend wasn't ready to be a father, so he abandoned us both." As I tried to absorb this new information, I found myself feeling an overwhelming sense of disappointment. Perhaps Sean felt the same, as he muttered out, "I can't be around you right now. Goodbye, Louise." Then he left. My world had come crashing down around me. I didn't know what to do or say, so I just locked myself in my room and sat there in silence. A few days later at school, Olivia came running over to me and blurted out,
Have you heard? Cynthia's been suspended for spreading false rumors about people. Now everyone knows that she's a liar.
Well, I'm glad everyone knows, but honestly, Cynthia and her fake stories didn't really bother me anymore. I had bigger things to worry about, like Sean. I hadn't heard anything from him since Mom's confession, and I really hoped he was okay. Then, a week later, Sean texted me. Nicole, I care for you as if you were my own daughter. I don't want to lose you from my life. There's more. I've done some research, and I've found your dad. If you want, I'll take you to meet him.
Gulp! I was finally going to meet my real dad.
On the way there, Sean lightened me up chatting about guitars and tuning on Joy Division. It was so good to have him back in my life. I guess it's normal for kids who don't know a parent to imagine what they'd be like, right? Well, when I came face to face with my real dad, the reality didn't match my expectations. I showed him a photo of me and Mom, and he denied ever knowing her and slammed the door in my face. Ouch. Sean made sure I was okay, then drove me back. The moment I arrived home, I flung myself on the couch and cried into the cushion. He must have filled Mum in on what had happened, as she rushed over to me. Honey, I'm so sorry. It's all my fault, because I'm a coward who couldn't deal with my own issues. But things will be different from now on. I promise. Then Sean knelt down next to me. Nicole, I meant what I said before. I view you as a daughter. And if it's okay with your mum, I'd love to be your dad. Mum nodded her head and said, Yes, if that's what Nicole wants. I leaped up and hugged them both. At that moment, I realized I don't care if my biological dad didn't want to know me. I didn't need him, as I already have Mum and Sean. Now, my mum has learned to be brave and confront her problems, instead of running away from them. She now co-parents me with Sean, and even though they aren't back together, they are great friends. And you know what? I've never been happier.
Holy baloney! Who is that? This guy was next level hot. And there's more. As I neared him, he didn't run off looking afraid. Seeing me dumbfoundedly gasping, Scarlett elbowed me. Wake up, chicka. We're late. She giggled as she dragged me to class. I saw it. Never thought I'd see the day that Margo the troublemaker would go all gooey-eyed over some boy.
Scarlett teased me. I blushed and was completely tongue-tied, eyes looking around awkwardly.
It's a shame you're basically a walking, talking boy repellent.
Yeah, right. I lowered my head to think, and when I looked up, Scarlett was texting, probably some cringe overload message to her boyfriend Keith. I rested my chin on my hands and stared out of the window as I found myself daydreaming about that cute mystery guy.
What time do you call this? Are you trying to get me kicked out of this place for covering for you again?
So's. I had something super important to do with Alfie.
Important, huh? So I could end up in trouble for covering your butt? Because you want to pull some lame prank with that loser?
Nuh-uh. How many times do I have to tell you? We only pranked him once, and that jerk totally deserved it. About that jerk, he's the captain of the basketball team, and Alfie's my friend. Okay, he might look a bit intimidating, but he's a nice guy. But that jock not only knocked Alfie out with his basketball, he also took his money out of his pocket when he was down. We weren't gonna let him get away with this. So that night, we snuck out and poured greasy cooking oil all over the field, which made the whole team slip and fall again and again. It was hilarious. Unfortunately, word of our involvement reached the principal, so Scarlett had to call her dad to help me. Okay, so this wasn't exactly the first time Scarlett had saved me. She only got mad as she had to save Alfie's butt too, even though she hates him. Come on, I'm sorry. Would you mind? It's midnight and we need to sleep. Shut up, Miley. No one asked you. Fine.
Go to bed and shut up so we can actually get some sleep.
Oof, those girly girls.
Wake up, princess. The class is over.
I groggily got up and followed Scarlet like a zombie to the cafeteria. But then I came to an abrupt halt. There, standing on the corner of the hallway, was that handsome guy. What on earth is going on?
I've asked Keith to do some research. Now, do you want my help or not?
I still froze and couldn't say anything. OMG, I'd never felt so nervous like this before. I nodded while holding her arm. Wow, so all it took for the mighty Margo to turn into a timid wreck was some dude? Oh, and by the way, he's called Jared, and he's studying classical music. Very elegant.
Huh?
I blurted out. Classical music? This sucks! I mean, how's a girl like me ever gonna reach his level?
Don't worry, I'll help you.
Then she changed her attitude.
On one condition.
You know what? Scarlet demanded me to stop hanging out with Elfie, 'cause it was not good for the girly image I needed to get Jared's attention. Plus, I wouldn't be allowed to pass the dorm's curfew. If I broke these conditions, then she wouldn't help me anymore. Fine, I agree. Sorry, Elfie, you'll just have to carry on without me. Keith befriended Jared and asked him to come over to our school again to check on those pianos in the music room. When there's an oops emergency, he will leave Jared with me, who it turns out is struggling with the piano. Genius! As you can see, this plan is going well so far. Just this dress was really suffocating me. Ugh. But being around Jared seemed to suffocate me even more. Luckily, he was quite friendly, so we started talking easily, and now he's playing for me. Do you have any plans after school? No, not yet. I'm about to go to this music cafe in town. Would you like to join me? OMG! Of course I said yes! Does this count as a first date? We actually had a lot of fun. I was in seventh heaven. On our way back, I was startled when I saw Elfie across the street. Noticing me with Jared, Elfie glared at me with this maddened, wide-eyed look. I gave him the shush sign and looked away. No surprises. My phone beeped. You blew me off to hang out with that sissy boy? And what's with your clothes? Jeez, Elfie was angry for sure, but I couldn't do this right now. I'd promised Scarlet I wouldn't talk to him anymore. So I ignored the message and walked straight past him. As soon as I arrived back at the dorm, the girls cooed around and asked me about the date. They seemed so happy for me. So, when's the next date? He asked me to come over to his school tomorrow, and then we're gonna have dinner. Ah! The girls screamed in unison. Surprising, as I didn't think these grumpy girls cared this much about me. I was so excited about the date, so I arrived early at Jared's school to find him practicing with another girl. I walked into the room with a smile on my face, and Jared introduced me to her, Maeve. Then he told me to wait there and left to go to the bathroom. This Maeve girl sniggered, then looked me up and down and said, "Give it up. An unrefined girl like you doesn't deserve him." Huh? What on earth did I ever do to her? Angry, I knocked over her music sheets. She picked it up, then sternly said, "Just you wait. I won't let you get away with it." Then she shoved past me and stormed off. Then, at dinner, I couldn't help it. So, that Maeve? Our parents are very close, so we've been friends since we were little, and now we both study music. She seems really into you. I'm not so sure about that. We're just friends. So he doesn't like that Maeve girl? I guess. Just forget about her. I have a very important date with Jared, and I need your help. Right at that moment, a call from Alfie arrived, but Scarlet was sitting right next to me, so I couldn't pick up. After a few calls, he texted me. "You gotta help me this time. I can't do it by myself." Oh, God help me. I didn't have the heart to abandon my friend. So, I decided to sneak out and go see Alfie. Okay, so it's not what you think. Those times I was late weren't because we were up to no good. We've been fixing up this abandoned house for these homeless kids instead. This time, one of those kids, Kevin, had a serious fever.
I had to help Elfie borrow some money and take Kevin to the hospital. I tried to be deadly quiet as I crept into the dorm room, but I swear Scarlett is the lightest sleeper in existence. And sure enough, she was there waiting for me. "Oh, hi Margo. It's nice of you to join us." "Yeah, sorry. It was, an emergency." "You just can't help yourself, can you? You broke our agreement to go hang out with that thug friend of yours. I'm not helping you ever again." This sucked. It looked like I was on my own. This is it. My big date with Jared. His dad's the conductor here, and from what I can gather, that's a massive deal. Without Scarlett to help me find the right dress for this event was a nightmare. Oh man, everyone looked so luxurious and classy. I felt like a sore thumb. This obviously wasn't the world I belonged to. But Jared's gentle smile soothed me down a lot. But soon, Maeve was coming towards us. Ugh. "Jared, darling, congrats! I think this concert will be amazing." "Oh, it's you again. Nice dress." Ugh! She was really pulling on my leg. But stay calm. Now breathe. Breathe. Then they both talked about Mozart, Beethoven. I didn't understand a thing, as well as the whole concert. I didn't understand either. Afterward, Jared led me over to his parents. OMG, this was scary. I gave them the bouquet of flowers I've prepared and congratulated them on the concert. Luckily, they both seemed really friendly and were really content with my gift. But then Maeve appeared and hugged Jared's mom. "Jared, it's lovely to be around such polite girls." Smirking, Maeve replied, "I wouldn't be so sure about that. Margo here likes hiding her true personality." Okay, so I may have failed to keep my cool and blurted out some bad words. Oops. Jared and his parents looked shocked by this, but before I could try and rectify the situation, Maeve pulled out her phone and waved around a photo of me with Alfie. I wanted to explain, but I just ended up stuttering out a load of nonsense. In the end, Jared pulled me aside and told me, "I think it's best if you just leave." I ran out of there close to tears. Worse still, I couldn't run in this dumb dress. I'd lost Jared, and it was past curfew. So if I went back now, Scarlett would get mad at me. So I decided that I wasn't going to go back. Nope. Instead, I was going to run away. I'd been staying here for a couple of days. I feel safe here, and Alfie bought me some clothes and food. Ugh, why is she here? I wasn't in the mood for a lecture. But to my surprise, she rushed over to me and wrapped her arms around me. "How could you just leave me like that? Have you any idea how worried I've been? Anyway, Alfie told me everything. I'm sorry for misjudging you." She pulled away. "You do stink, though." "There's one more person who wants to see you, Margo." I looked at him with confusion. Then at the door, it was Jared. "Margo, when I saw that photo, I was shocked. I thought I must be some joke to you, and you were really with Alfie. But then I couldn't stop thinking about you. Now I've spoken to Scarlett and Alfie. I know better. I like you, Margo, the real you. And I don't want you to think you have to change for me. Do you think you can give this idiot another chance?" I hesitated, pretending that it was something I had to think about. Then smirking, I shouted out yes and rushed into his arms. So, what now? Well, I'm back in the dorm, and yep, I still sneak out, and yep, Scarlett still covers for me. Jared and I are an official couple, and he's even helping me with a fundraiser concert to help out the homeless kids. So, I guess that this tough girl is actually not so tough after all.
"Emma, your teacher, Mrs. Holm, called again. She said your grades are appalling and you don't pay attention in class. Why can't you be more like your sister?"
Yawn. Not this speech again. It's been like this ever since I started elementary school. In my mom's eyes, only my sister, Evelyn, inherited our dad's intelligence.
while I'm just the senseless member of the family. Ugh, as if. She's only good with useless books. Bet she doesn't know anything practical, like how Dad's Ethernet company works and such. But whatever, I don't care. I'm full, I announced as I got up and went to my little headquarters, the garage. I was busy working on my own personal project, so I didn't have time to give a hoot about who my mom's favorite child is. Oh, you must be wondering what I'm working on. Well, this device broadcasts Wi-Fi. Sounds familiar, right? But my device is able to broadcast across the entire city. Not only that, the connection is stronger and much more stable than the Wi-Fi people use at home. And it's more convenient without all the cables and stuff. This is without a doubt my proudest work ever. And what a coincidence that a few days earlier at school, Mrs. Home announced that for the first time, the school was organizing an invention contest. Normally, I give school activities a miss, but this time was different. This contest could be fun, right? There was no time to waste, so I put all my spare time, day and night, into making my invention contest ready. And you won't believe what happened. I won first prize! And that's not all. One of the judges, Mr. Johnson, was so interested in my invention that he offered to invest in it. At first, I was kind of scared and hesitated to agree because, I was still in high school. But this was an opportunity of a lifetime, so how could I deny it, right? So after that, Mr. Johnson sorted out a manufacturing company and office space for me downtown. This is cool, but I prefer to work in my garage. It's just more convenient that way, with me still being at school and all. I upgraded my device and launched it to the public. And you know what? It was a huge success. Pretty much everybody in the city got rid of their old, laggy Wi-Fi devices and accessed mine. Then one day, I got a call from the local news channel asking to interview me and my family at home. Oh my god, yes! Oh, there's just one snag. I hadn't told my family about it yet because, I don't know. Maybe I just know there's no way they'd believe me? Like the time I got an A in my physics exam, and my mom instantly asked if I cheated. But, well, whatever. This is much bigger than that. So I quickly ran downstairs to the living room and excitedly told my family that the invention benefiting the town was mine. But Mum and Evelyn burst out laughing. So you're telling me that this Wi-Fi, which is broadcasting across the entire city, is your invention? Yeah, Mum, it's mine. Then Mum and Evelyn laughed even louder. Honey, it's bad enough you're failing at school. Please don't start lying. Ugh, forget about it. Why did I even try? Then, the morning after, when the doorbell rang, my mom opened it and saw a reporter and a cameraman. She couldn't believe her eyes. Mum and Evelyn exchanged panicked looks, then rushed upstairs to prepare. It was so hilarious. The hysterics continued as they interviewed my parents. I watched my nervous, sweaty dad stand there like an awkward statue, while Mom began bragging about me like, as soon as Emma was born, I knew she was a genius like her dad. I always encourage her to pursue her dreams. Jeez, and the Oscar goes to my mom. I didn't know she could act that well. To be honest, since I could remember, Mom never said anything nice about me. Ever. But now that she knew I was the mastermind behind the town's Wi-Fi, she would probably treat me differently, right? Wrong. Then one night I came downstairs for a glass of milk and overheard Mom and Dad talking in the living room. Emma is such a selfish child. How badly will this affect your business? The truth is, the company's going through tough times. But don't worry, we're trying everything we can. Huh? Did I do something? And what's wrong with Dad's company? I tried to eavesdrop more, but suddenly I heard my dad standing up from the couch, so I quickly ran upstairs to my room. The next day, Dad forgot to take his lunch with him to work, so Mom asked me to take it over. But when I got to his company floor, it was deserted. Huh? Where was everybody? Did everybody get a day off or something? But that couldn't be it, right? That evening, over dinner, I asked Dad. I went to your office at midday, but not a single person was there. What's going on? Mom suddenly put her cutlery down and gave Dad a shocked look.
Is what Emma just said true?
Dad lowered his head and sighed out.
Yes, it's true. I temporarily shut the company last week. I didn't want you all to worry, so I didn't tell you. I'm sorry.
What? How could you? You said you would fix it.
That's when it hit me. But I deeply prayed it wasn't the truth. So I asked him, is it because of my device? Dad didn't answer me. He just glared sadly down at his dinner. But I knew what his silence meant. I was right. Suddenly, Evelyn stood up and screamed in my face.
It's all your fault! You invented that stupid device, and now Dad's business is at stake! That's so typical of you. You never think before you act.
Then she stomped off upstairs. I just sat there speechless. I just wanted my family to be proud of me, but instead, it seemed like they despised me more than ever. Then Dad turned to me and softly said,
Emma, this isn't your fault.
I was kind of waiting for my mom to say something, anything at all, but she didn't. She just cleaned up the table. I felt really bad about what happened to Dad. But hey, now I had to work even harder so I could provide for my family, right? After that, Mom completely ghosted me. As for my sister, whenever our paths crossed, she gave me a dagger look and muttered out mean comments like,
let's see how long it takes for your precious business to fail.
I tried to ignore her, but then she took it too far. One Sunday, I was in my garage working away when suddenly I heard loud noises coming from outside. I opened the garage door to see a crowd of people holding signs saying, "We lost our jobs because of you," and "No job, no future." My God, they were protesters. I think they were from my dad's office. Wait a minute. I spotted a familiar face. Evelyn? She was holding a big sign saying, "My dad lost his job because of you." Eventually, Dad came out and dispersed the crowd. Then he called an emergency family meeting. How could you do that to me?
The correct question would be, how could you do that to Dad? Thanks to you, dozens of people have lost their jobs. You're making people's lives miserable.
Enough, both of you. Evelyn, what you did was wrong. Families are supposed to support each other.
But Dad,
Didn't you just hear what I said?
Evelyn gave me a dirty look, then she ran off to her room. I looked at Mum, who was leaning against the wall with her arms folded. Did she agree with what Evelyn did? Or was she on my side? My God, please say something. But to my surprise, after that, my mother started talking to me again, and she was actually being nice. She even started cleaning my room and workspace. Whoa, this was new. Had she finally accepted me? Then one day, I received tons of emails complaining about my Wi-Fi. It took me all day, but I finally found the cause of the problem. My laptop. Somebody had tampered with it. It didn't take a genius to figure out who it was. Evelyn, duh. But I needed proof, so I set up a trap. The next evening, when everybody was having dinner, I ran downstairs, quickly grabbed a piece of bread and said, "I need to go run some errands. Oh, and can you please stay out of the garage, as I'm uploading some important files?" Mum and Dad nodded and smiled at me. Evelyn, on the other hand, just rolled her eyes and continued eating. Well, at least I knew my plan was in motion. I walked outside and hid behind the bushes. So, what's my plan, you ask? Well, I set up my laptop so that when anyone opened it, it would automatically send a notification to my phone and turn on the camera so I could see who it was. I waited for an hour, but still nothing. Then suddenly, my phone beeped. Somebody was opening my laptop. They hadn't switched the light on yet, so it was too dark to see them, but I was 100% sure who it was. Time to expose.
What are you doing sneaking out here?
Evelyn? What was she doing out here? Wait, if Evelyn was here, Then who was it in the garage? Not answering Evelyn's question, I ran like crazy into the garage to capture this intruder. And as soon as I turned on the lights, I couldn't believe who was messing with my laptop. It was Mom! What on earth was going on? I called a family meeting and told everyone what Mom did. Dad and Evelyn looked shocked and asked Mom why she did it. I just couldn't stand seeing your dad suffer anymore. He put his life into that company, and now he's just a laughing stock. Do you realize our neighbors and relatives have been gossiping about him? They think it's so pitiful that he lost out to his own daughter. So I did what any self-respecting wife would do. Was she serious? Why didn't she just talk to me? All I ever wanted was for her to talk to me. Nothing else. But no, she decided to go behind my back and try to sabotage my business instead. After her betrayal, I'd had enough. So I didn't speak to her and avoided her as much as possible. It was one thing for Mom to be cold towards me, but I never thought she was capable of doing this. This went on for weeks, and it got kinda tedious. Trust me, it's no fun trying to avoid someone in your own home. But then one day, I arrived back from school and saw Dad sitting in a corner in the living room, repairing his PC. Geez, he looked so miserable. That's when the truth hit me. This was his passion, and I took it away from him. Suddenly, I understood why Mom did what she did. She saw how disheartened he was, but knew he'd never say anything to me, because he's always supportive. But how can I fix everything? Should I give everything up so that my dad can reopen his company again? Ugh, why was this so hard to figure out? Wait a minute. I think I have the solution. You must be wondering what my dad was doing here. Well, I came up with the idea that we should work together. My dad's a pro with technology, so it didn't take long to show him how things work around here. Oh, and since my business has grown, we were able to employ some of his former work employees too. With Dad around to help, I have time to focus on my studies. Even Evelyn started helping out, and she was so good at it, I made her dad's assistant. Talk about a proper family business. Ha! As for Mom, we had a really long talk. I finally told her how awful her attitude towards me made me feel, and she apologized for everything she had done. I eventually forgave her. I knew she did that just because she loves Dad very much. So, after all that drama, we're now just one big happy family.
Susan, hurry up or we'll be late to see the House of Gucci.
Hang on, where was Susan? I looked around to see my friend standing on the spot. Lola? Isn't that your car? I looked in the direction Susan was pointing and saw my beloved car resting on the back of a tow truck. Great! Our only mode of transport was being impounded for illegal parking. So much for a movie trip. Well, let's call it a day. My line of thought just ended when, oops, something fell on my shirt. Ah! Those stupid birds! Unbelievable! This was my brand new tee, and now it was covered in bird droppings. Oh yeah, welcome to a normal day in the life of Lola the Jinx. Yes, I've been called that since I was a little kid. All of my relatives, except for my parents, have always been extra wary of me. Then, when I was 12, during a boring family gathering, I overheard a heated conversation between my uncle and my parents.
Stop living in denial. That girl's bad luck. Send her off to boarding school. Anywhere, as long as she's away from this family. You're being ridiculous. It's my daughter you're talking about. The fact that you lost your job has nothing to do with her. She's just a kid.
That's right. This isn't Lola's fault. You need to stop blaming her for everything because of some silly words. It turned out that the silly words in question were told by a prophetess on the day of my birth. So, my family owned a famous furniture manufacturing business in the area. But unfortunately, on the day I was born, there was a fire in the workshop and they lost everything. On that same day, a prophetess passed by my house and dropped a sentence that made everyone in the family panic.
That newborn is a jinx who will bring misfortune to the entire family.
So that's why relatives ignore me, don't invite me to parties, and whisper about me behind my back. I don't want to believe the prophecy, but with all the bad luck I've had so far, it's hard not to. Have you ever carried an umbrella around with you for 6 days straight, only for it to be sunny? Then the one day you forget to bring it, it pours down? Or have you ever been able to lick a delicious-looking ice cream when you tripped and splashed the whole ice cream on the poor person standing opposite you? Well, not only was I unlucky in my own right, but my ill fortune also affected the people around me. It's no wonder I'm a shy girl who struggles to make friends. Besides my parents, I only have one friend, Susan.
Hey Lola, have you ever thought about breaking your bad luck? There's a very famous fortune teller in town.
Breaking bad luck? Well, that sounds like a good idea. I've had enough of being Lola the jinx. The next day, following Susan's instructions, I went to a small house on the outskirts of town. As I knocked on the door, I was nervous and excited. I hoped this would finally be the end to my run of bad luck. A woman in veil let me in. I couldn't wait any longer, so I blurted out, "Hi, I'm here since I heard you could help me get rid of my bad luck, right? Please help, whatever it takes." The fortune teller sat still for a moment, then a smile lit up through her veil.
You're Lola, daughter of the Gonzalez family, right?
I was stunned. Whoa, she was good at her job. I mean, I hadn't even introduced myself yet.
Of course, I already knew that you'd come here, but it would be difficult for me to eliminate your misfortune. There's only one person in the world who can undo your jinx. They will bear all the bad luck for you, and even bring you good luck at the same time.
Is that so? But who could that be in this whole wide world? I blurted out. The fortune teller smiled and said that if I wanted further clues, that would cost me a few more bucks. Oh well, I've already come this far, so it's worth spending the rest of my monthly allowance to know who my mystery savior was, right? Then she pulled out this drawstring bag and shook it. She told me to draw an item. Oh, it was a small tile with a single letter on it. A.
Well, well, well. Interesting. A person whose name starts with an A. Fear not, Lola. The universe will signal you to find that very person.
I then went home and couldn't stop searching my mind for people I know with A names. Let's see. The most potential person was Ariel, a classmate of mine who was super lucky in everything. That's right, no one else but her. She was born wealthy and fortunate. She didn't even study and she always got good grades. Actually, she just won the school raffle. Her prize was a year's supply of donuts and a bowling trip. Obviously, she was the complete opposite of me. With her inherent luck, surely a little bit of my jinx seasoning wouldn't make her too miserable, right? But honestly, I'm not fond of Ariel. She's sour, scornful, and a show-off. Still, dear Lola, anything was possible if you wanted to end your bad luck. So I was determined that from tomorrow, I would make her my best friend. Together we would have the perfect balance between bad luck and good fortune. But easier said than done. Being friends with Ariel meant I had to continuously compliment her on everything. Her new shoes, high grades, choice of lipstick color. Ugh. She also made me go and queue up to get her lunch. Someone like me struggled to carry my own lunch without tripping, let alone two. But the weird thing was, I didn't fall over. Actually, ever since I started hanging out with Ariel, I couldn't recall anything bad happening. With my newfound luck, I started opening up to some of my other classmates. And you won't believe it, an unlucky girl like me even won 2 tickets to the opening of a new water park. So I decided to share one with Ariel. To be fair, it was her luck that got me those tickets, right? But, uh-oh. Hang on. Was that Ariel tottering out of the changing rooms in her stiletto heels? What an idiot! And right after that,
Just as you might have guessed, she slipped over. But to my horror, she also frantically grabbed onto my arm to take me down with her. But wait, why didn't I feel any pain? Oh, was I dreaming? Did this handsome guy just save me? As for Princess Ariel, she broke a tiny fingernail, so she just stormed off sulking. Never mind, as I had a new companion, my super cute hero, Anthony. Since then, Anthony and I talk to each other every day, and just like that, we officially became a couple. Honestly, who would have imagined that Lola the Jinx would one day have a very wonderful boyfriend like Anthony? Maybe my luck had finally changed. Yay! So the prophecy was fulfilled. Ariel was the one who brought me luck. But actually, thinking about it, Ariel didn't seem to be having any bad luck at all in the meantime. Well, apart from the fingernail incident, but in that instance, she was lucky she didn't sprain her ankle or anything. Perhaps we were all riding on the good luck train, for once. But there's still one thing I can't understand. Honey, why were you so late today?
Sorry, babe. On the way here, I got a flat tire. Twice.
Yeah, you see, my boyfriend sure had been having a lot of bad luck lately. But wait, Anthony also has a name that began with the letter A. Could it be that it was Anthony who bore my bad luck? Not Ariel? Oh no, this couldn't be happening. Then, over the next few weeks, my suspicions were confirmed. Anthony lost his phone. He misplaced his assignment, picked up the wrong dog from the vet's, and even managed to walk into his mom's brand new, expensive vase. Smash! I could continue to be a jinx, but I didn't want any of my loved ones to endure this fatigue for me. Instead, I needed to find a way to help Anthony get out of this for good. Maybe he could befriend someone super lucky. Then this would reverse his bad luck. With this plan in mind, I planned a picnic for us both, then invited the luckiest person I knew along too, Ariel. At first, it seemed to be going really well. It wasn't raining, and there weren't ants in our sandwiches. But then I noticed Ariel giggle and twizzle with her hair as she looked at Anthony. Oh no, Ariel had a crush on my boyfriend. The problem was, the more I saw them together, happy and bad luck free, the more I concluded that Anthony was better off without me. So I started ignoring his calls and messages and purposely avoided the places I knew he would be. All was going well, until he showed up outside my school. Ugh!
Lola, why are you ignoring me? What did I do wrong?
I pretended not to hear anything and kept walking, but he ran after and caught me by my wrist. So I yelled at him, "Nothing! You're perfect! That's why I stopped talking to you. I'm a jinx, and you deserve better." He gave me a confused look, so I explained all about how bad luck had a way of following me and the people I was closest to, and that's why I had set up a date for him and Ariel.
You're such a fool. Are you seriously ready to throw away what we have because of some stupid prophecy? Plus, I'm not an object for you to just give away to whoever you want.
Then he stormed off. This was awful. Now I'd gone and lost my amazing, sweet, caring boyfriend, and I only had myself to blame. Later that night, Mom walked into the living room and saw me slumped on the couch crying. She asked me what was wrong, and I blubbered out all about my bad luck, the fortune teller, and how I lost my boyfriend because of it.
I think it's time I visited this fortune teller. It might be the prophetess from the day you were born. I didn't see her back then as I was in the hospital with you. If it really is her, I'm longing to know why she decided to put so much stress on our family with her ludicrous words.
The next day, Mom and I went to the fortune teller's place. Mom yanked the veil off her face and stared at her in shock. Turns out they went to school together. And back then, this woman was jealous of my mom's luck. A jealousy she never got past. So she tried to sabotage her by telling those ridiculous prophecies to not only me, but the rest of our family. Thinking about it, throughout my childhood, my relatives treated me like a bad luck charm. So that's how I acted. I alienated myself, acted insecure, and had no confidence. Maybe it was my negative energy that was making me unlucky, not some dumb prophecy. So what happened next? Well, Mom made sure the whole town found out about what a fraud the fortune teller is. She wrote a public apology to us and paid us compensation. As for me, I decided it was time to make my own luck. So I went round to Anthony's and handed him 2 tickets for the water park, and I apologized for all my superstitious nonsense. He seemed to appreciate the gesture, and he forgave me. So we're back together. Yay! From now on, it's only positive vibes, happy thoughts, and grasping life's opportunities. The most important thing I've learned is that if you see life as beautiful, it'll always be beautiful to you in return.
Oh, we couldn't make a tiny single profit this month. Again? Business is so slow these days. Oh no, it's already past 5? Gotta go pick up Lucy. I rushed over to Elena's house. She's my best friend. She often helps take care of my daughter Lucy so I can work extra hours. No matter how tough things were going for me, at least I still have Lucy. Even on the worst days, one look at her angelic smile, and I realize things aren't so bad after all. Why the long face? Has this month been as hard as last month? I nodded, sadly, and entered the house. It's been even worse. I just want to earn enough money to provide a nice life for Lucy, but I'm barely breaking even. I looked over at Lucy, who was playing with her dollies on the living room floor. I plopped down on the sofa while Elena brought me a cup of tea. Things will get better. I just know it. How about I read your tarot cards to see if things will improve for you? Yeah, right. Let's just assume those fortune-telling things are right. I'm not into the spiritual stuff, but Elena swears by it. I suppose it can't hurt to hear what she has to say, right? She made me shuffle the cards, then laid some out on the coffee table in front of me. Oh, that's interesting. Hey, Nora, seems like your life's going to change sooner than you think. Destiny is telling me that it'll be tomorrow after work at the bakery close to your shop. It looks like you'll meet a man, a rich one. I stared down at the cards. How on earth was she getting all this information from them? Yeah, whatever. Thanks for looking after Lucy, but I better take her home and make her dinner. Pfft, who would believe those fortune-telling tricks? But, come to think of it, I'm also desperate. With all the lockdowns and Brexit, my little candle shop in the south of England wasn't going so well of late. No amount of 2-for-1 offers or sales events were helping. Ugh. I'm down to single digits on the money my parents lent me to open up the shop. Then there's Lucy to think of. In her 3 years of life, she has already been through so much, including her father abandoning us both. I want to provide an amazing life for her, not cause us both to end up homeless. Ugh. I may as well do as Elena said. I mean, it's not like I had anything to lose. So the next day, I closed up the shop early, then with Lucy in tow, walked toward the bakery. There didn't seem to be anyone about. Looks like Elena was oh so wrong. Oh, miss, I'm so sorry. I brushed bits of pastry off me and glared at this man. Okay, so it looked like he's only a few years older than me, but why is he wearing such old-fashioned clothes? And what's with his awful hairstyle? This has to be the man Elena was talking about, right? But he's so not my type. But I suppose if dating him changes everything, then... Oh, cute kid. He pointed at Lucy, who was cuddling her favorite doll. Yeah, this is my daughter Lucy. Sometimes I swear she loves that doll more than me. She won't let it out of her sight. He chuckled, then nervously scratched his head and said, You're a good mother, I can tell. Are you going this way? He pointed up the street. I nodded, then started walking alongside him. Okay, so he's called Dylan. He's an engineer and he's just moved here for work. We exchanged numbers and you know what? We've been texting quite a lot. Soon we started hanging out and he's not so bad, albeit a little on the boring side. Lucy seems to adore him though. He pulls silly faces to make her laugh and buys her sweets. He even took us both to the zoo. OMG, it was so good. And Lucy loved seeing the penguins. So when he told me he liked me and asked me out on a date, I said yes. Okay, so he's not my usual type, but he's rich, caring, and good with Lucy. Besides, it's all too much to be a coincidence, right? Elena's tarot reading must have come true, and he's the guy who's going to change my luck. Hey, All the romantic dates out to the restaurants and places were kind of fun. And even better, business was improving. This was great and all, but dating Dylan was getting kind of tiring. I like the guy. He's sweet and kind, but I don't have feelings for him. One time after a delicious meal, he walked me home. Then, on my doorstep, he gushed out about how much he liked me, then leaned in for a kiss. Panicked, I darted out of the way, causing him to trip over and almost fall into a bush. Another time, he took my hand when we were walking through the park. I then just stood there while he gave me this soppy look and said, "Nora, I really like you, and I know you like me too because you're not letting go of my hand." It made me feel so awkward, so I just pretended I had something in my eye, then changed the subject. Good luck charm or not, I couldn't carry on like this anymore. So when Dylan surprised me at my shop with a bouquet of flowers which caused a bunch of wasps to swarm around me, I screamed at him, "Please? I'm trying to work. Will you just leave me alone?" Dylan looked hurt, then he left. I felt really bad about it, but I just felt so suffocated by him. After that, Dylan and I stopped seeing each other, but as expected, my business started to go downhill again. Ugh, why? Why does it have to be him that makes everything work? But if it's really only Dylan who can help me make money, then maybe, then I'd continue dating him until the end of this winter. I mean, I did need money to provide for Lucy. As a peace offering, I decided to buy Dylan his favorite pastry from the bakery and surprise him with it. But as I was walking out of the bakery, I walked straight into someone. Dylan? Turns out he was also planning on surprising me, and he was just getting a pastry for Dutch Courage. I invited him into my shop, and he handed me this gross gemstone bracelet. But I forced a smile, told him it was beautiful, and hugged him. Looks like we're back on. That night, I went home and placed the bracelet on the side. But then Lucy got a hold of it, and I noticed one of the gemstones on it was missing. So terrified she'd swallowed it, I spent all evening in A&E. Turns out it was a false alarm. Nice gift, Dylan. For the sake of my business, I may have had to date Dylan, but that didn't mean I couldn't see other guys too. So I joined this dating app and started talking to this cute guy called Austin. We gelled so well. So when he asked me out, I said yes. It was a harmless meetup. This wasn't cheating, right? Austin showed up and, I didn't want to compare, but Dylan was like a desert, while Austin was definitely the green oasis. But right when Austin and I stepped out of the cafe, we ran into Dylan on the sidewalk with another girl. So turns out we both wanted to find someone new? If so, maybe there was no need to wait until winter. So Dylan insisted on coming round, and naturally he wanted to know who Austin was. I mentioned how we were both seeing other people, so it was fine. But turns out the girl I saw with him was just a friend. It was time I was honest with him. So I told him how he was a good luck charm for my business, and that's why I continued to date him. He clutched his chest and gave me this heartbroken look. Then he just nodded and left. I felt really bad about it, but at least it was over now, right? I went back to raising Lucy the best I could, trying to salvage my failing business and dating Austin, but in the end it didn't work out with him. The weird thing is I found myself thinking about Dylan all the time. Just the cheesy things he said and his quirky ways. I couldn't help but think that if he was here now, life would be so much better. OMG, the realization hit me. I actually have feelings for Dylan. I tried texting and calling him, but he didn't answer. I suppose I couldn't blame him. So I went round to Elena's and confided in her. That's when she took my hands in hers and told me the shocking truth.
Dylan is actually my cousin. He really has just moved to this town, and he is an engineer. But I made the fortune thing up. Actually, Dylan once saw you come over to pick up Lucy and liked you. So I decided to do some matchmaking.
What? So all this time it had all been a lie? My business didn't improve because of Dylan. It had just been a fluke? I was kind of mad with Elena, but I asked her for a favor. I'm so nervous. I got Elena to set this meeting up with Dylan. He thinks he's meeting her, not me. Oh, there he is. Oh, it's you. Dylan, I know I was horrible to you, and I'm sorry. Elena told me everything, and I don't care if my business could be better or worse, even though we both tricked each other. I know that I like you, and I just want you by my side. He gave me this questioning look. Then, seeing that I was being serious, he hugged me. So what now? Well, Dylan and I are back together. He's so great with Lucy, and guess what? My business is magically doing amazing again. Turns out it has nothing to do with magic or good luck charms or anything to do with Dylan, who not only recommended my little candle shop to all of his friends and clients, but also started up an awesome online marketing campaign for me. Sometimes happiness is right under our noses, but we still try to find it somewhere else. So my advice to you is to learn how to be happy with the things you already have, as, trust me, it's only when you lose them that you realize how amazing they were in the first place. I was so nervous. Like, the most nervous I'd ever been in my life. I didn't even know it was possible for a press conference to get so crowded. Suddenly, the flashes came at me from every direction. It was almost blinding, but the clicking didn't stop, as well as the sound of them calling my name. Hazel, look here! Over here, Hazel! Oh my gosh, why was this so chaotic? I started to panic, so I ran away, but I'd only taken a few steps before thump! Oh, these stupid high heels. Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. Well, let's be real, it's kind of hard to see anyone from this angle. Then from every direction, the reporters swarmed in like starving vultures, trying to take pictures of me. I was still confused and didn't know what to do when... Gentlemen, please give her some space. Are you okay? Robert, my adoptive dad, came to help me up. Excuse us, this is her first time attending such a crowded event. If it's all right with you, we'll help her answer your questions. Phew, I'd finally escaped the chaos. Or so I thought. As soon as he got into the house, Robert shouted, "Pamela!" which gave me the fright of my life. Didn't I tell you to teach Hazel some manners? How could you let her embarrass herself in front of the public like that? Pamela looked mortified and kept bowing down and apologizing, but Robert was still furious. If this happens again, you better pack your bags and get out of here. I felt so guilty. It was all because of me that she had been shouted at like that. But I'd done my best. Clearly it wasn't good enough, though. I tried to forget about it, but early the next morning, Pamela woke me up. She gave me a timetable and told me that from now on, I wouldn't need to go to school anymore, and that a tutor would come to teach me at home instead. What? Why all of a sudden? I asked Pamela in shock. It was because of yesterday's incident. The mayor has decided that you need to spend more time learning the necessary etiquette. Are you serious? He can't just keep me locked up here. No way. Hazel, listen, you should be grateful that you got adopted into this house. Keep in mind of everything Mr. Cornelius has done for you and obediently do as I say. Do you understand what I mean? Looking into Pamela's eyes, I knew I had no choice but to agree. The day of the opening ceremony for the town hall had finally arrived, and I got to leave the house for the first time in a month. A whole month. Now was the moment of truth. In the eyes of the public, I had completely transformed into a proper, prestigious lady. When Robert started speaking at the ceremony, he announced a charity fundraiser for my orphanage, in the hopes that children like me would be given a chance to live a better life. Hearing this speech, I could barely hold back my tears. I was sitting next to my adoptive mom, Eleanor, so I turned to give her a big hug. Suddenly, all eyes were on me, and it seemed I'd finally done something right. I smiled up at Robert, and we both had tears in our eyes. Maybe Pamela was right. I really was lucky to have been adopted by such kind people. But as soon as we got home, things changed. My parents got all quiet and went off to their room, leaving me alone. Where was my praise? I'd done so well, hadn't I? Why weren't they happy? The following days, they still asked me to join them for their events, so I guess I must have done a good job. And while the media and public were around, they were all touchy-feely and affectionate towards me, constantly praising me. We must have looked like the perfect family. But the minute we got home, they'd ignore me, and if they wanted to tell me something, they'd get Pamela to speak to me. It was so flipping weird. I actually started to feel quite lonely and depressed. And even though I was living in the lap of luxury, I missed the orphanage. One day, Pamela's daughter, aka the only friend I had in this enormous mansion, Paisley, saw how upset I was and asked, "Hey, so why do you agree to move into this house? You're clearly unhappy here." Paisley got me. She was the same age as me, so we were on the same wavelength. I was nervous to tell her how I felt, but I knew she would understand, so I told her everything. The thing is, I actually have a sister. She's only 8, and she's called Amber. That's why I was missing the orphanage. She was still there. She's got congenital heart disease, so after our parents passed away, the orphanage couldn't afford her hospital bills. When the mayor's family decided to adopt me, I refused because I didn't want to leave Amber alone. But then Robert offered to pay for her medical treatments if I agreed, and well, the rest is history. You see, I can't just leave. If I did, what would happen to Amber? Oh, Hazel, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. But I need to be honest with you. One time I overheard Robert and Eleanor saying that you were the perfect girl to play this role. Huh? What role? That meant, were they using me for something? It didn't make any sense, but those words kept lingering on my mind until... One time, Eleanor asked me to join her at a charity event, which she said was going to be broadcast on TV. Our job was to prepare homemade food and give it out to the homeless. I was so excited, but when I walked into our kitchen, I discovered the chefs had already cooked everything before the filming crew arrived. I was so disappointed and asked Eleanor about it. She just laughed and said, "Oh, no, sweetie, our job is just to look pretty and graceful in front of the camera." Then before distributing the food, she gave me a pair of gloves and said, "Don't touch any of their hands, okay? They are filthy." Oh my gosh, how could she say such things? Oh, then it hit me. I understood what Paisley had said now. The affection and kindness that the Corneliuses were showing me was actually just for show. All to win over the audience, aka the public, while this was their very true face. I had to do something about this. I couldn't let them keep on deceiving the public like this. So when Eleanor went to the bathroom and took off her gloves, I quickly grabbed them and threw them in the trash. When we went back out, a homeless man approached her to express his gratitude and asked for a handshake. Of course, she tried to refuse, but at that moment the camera turned to her, so she had no choice but to give in. And you know what? The man didn't just shake her hand. He even pulled Eleanor in for a big hug. I couldn't hold back my laughter at how flustered she looked. Served her right. Afterward, Eleanor grabbed my arm and dragged me to a quiet corner. Then she said, "It was you who did this, wasn't it?" I pretended to have no idea what she was talking about, and this just infuriated her even more. Then later that evening when we got home, Robert was already waiting and shouted at me, "What do you think you're playing at?" I was confused, but then Eleanor added, "Don't you ever mess with me like that again." Now listen closely. Don't you miss your little sis? Aren't you curious if she's doing okay or not? That's right. You better have behaved yourself from now on, young lady. I was so shaken by what they'd said. I didn't even want to leave my room. What if something happened to my sister? Then suddenly, Paisley climbed through my window into my room. As soon as I saw her, I burst into tears. "Paisley, please help me with this. I need you to go to my orphanage and check on Amber and see if she's okay." A few hours later, Paisley came back panting. "Your sister? She's not doing good." What? But hadn't she been receiving money for her monthly treatments? Paisley shook her head. The nuns there said they hadn't received a penny since you left. Now Amber is barely surviving. Paisley's words broke my heart. Those two had been fooling me all this time, and now my sister's life was hanging on by a thread. I had to get to the bottom of this. I walked past Robert's office, and that's when I overheard someone talking. Curious, I peeked in and saw a group of middle-aged men sitting around a table. One of them spoke up. "Hey, Robert, the election day is coming. Is that little girl still doing a decent job?" "Oh, don't worry about her. She's just a silly little kid. She believes anything I tell her, especially about her sick sister," Robert smirked. How dare he speak about my sister like that? I had to do something. I couldn't let this vicious man keep on fooling everyone like he'd done to me. So I took out my phone and started filming. "Speaking of which, how much charity money have we got so far?" $100,000, Robert said, and the room was filled with praise. "Gentlemen, by the time of the closing party for the charity this weekend, we should have almost $500,000 for the election campaign. As soon as I win, your business will continue to be tax reduced for the next 4 years. I had to cover my mouth to stop myself from gasping. So this whole time, he'd been exploiting me and the orphanage for his corruption? Gosh, I was such an idiot to fall right into his trap. Suddenly my phone buzzed. "Who's there?" Robert shouted and rushed to the door. Oh no! Panicked, I ran, but not far enough before I tripped and the phone flew out of my hand. Robert and his men caught up with me, picked up my phone, and deleted all my evidence. They even took the phone away from me. He turned to me and said, "I've already warned you, have I not?" "You're a liar," I yelled. "You haven't paid a penny to my sister." Robert growled. "Who told you that?" But all he had for an answer was my silence and fuming look. Furious, he dragged me back to my room. "Maid, bring me the keys to her room." And then he locked me up inside until the day of the closing party of the charity rolled around, where they'd be announcing the amount of money they'd collected. That day, all the staff were out of the mansion. Suddenly, I heard the door being unlocked. Panicked, I hid behind the closet. "Hazel, where are you?" Oh, it was just Paisley. She found a way to sneak me out of the mansion and told me to run straight back to the orphanage. But no, first I had to expose that sly old fox Robert. Luckily, when I got to the event, Robert was giving his speech. I immediately ran up to the stage, snatched the mic, and told everyone about his evil plan. But I was no match for him. Before I could finish, security was dragging me off the stage, and Robert had already taken control of the situation. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry for my daughter's behavior. The reason why we decided to adopt her was that she's mentally ill. Since she came to our home, she has become better, but as you can see, there's been a bit of a relapse." What a snake! This jerk would stop at nothing to get what he wanted. Just then, the big screen on stage suddenly showed the video I'd taken, revealing all the schemes of Robert and his accomplices. Now he was well and truly exposed. I watched as he stammered. No, this can't be happening." Right at that moment, the police rushed in to arrest Robert and his accomplices in the stands. You might be wondering how we pulled that off. Well, as I was running through the hallway, I managed to send the video to Paisley. As soon as she received it, she came to find me and saw everything that had happened. So she secretly ran to her mom for help. Pamela then made a plan. While Paisley freed me from the mansion, Pamela set to work on projecting the video on the big screen. Genius, right? A month later, Robert and his accomplices were arrested for embezzlement. And, of course, he got locked up for a long, long time. Both him and Eleanor received such massive backlash from the public, to the point that she had to stay hidden away too. The charity money, luckily, was brought back to the orphanage, and part of it was used to take care of my sister Amber. She's doing much better now. Oh, and Paisley and I are still best of friends. Pamela has found a way better job. And as for me, I went back to stay at the orphanage until I'm old enough to move out. I'm better off being on my own with my sister than being adopted by some mess.
Now, what better way is there to spend a Saturday afternoon than lying on the couch watching a feel-good movie with lots of snacks? I suppose I better get that. OMG. Who is this? He's the most gorgeous boy I've ever seen in my life. I stared at him in open-mouthed amazement, but then I saw him gazing back at me and realized I needed to say something. Hey, how may I help you?
"Hi, I'm Jaden. My mom and I have just moved in next door."
Oh, in that case, welcome to the neighborhood. Jaden smiled as he held a box out to me. Was this a gift for me? Already? I took it from him and blushed out a thanks. I opened the box and saw that it was full of delicious-looking cookies.
"My mom baked them. She finds that people tend to be far more welcoming when it involves cookies."
We chatted for a bit longer. Then he said he had to go and help his mom unpack. Aw, why did this moment have to end already? The next day at school, I couldn't wait to find my bestie Stella and tell her about my drop-dead gorgeous neighbor. But as it happens, she found me at my locker and immediately started gushing about this hot new boy. I needed to see how handsome this guy was. My chance came at lunchtime when Stella pointed over at the new boy who was currently being pestered by Anna, this stuck-up girl from class. I squinted my eyes. OMG. The hot new boy was none other than Jaden. I watched on as Anna fluttered her eyelashes at him, then flicked her hair behind her back. Ugh. She needed to give the flirting a break. It was so tragic. Suddenly, Jaden saw me, smiled, then hurried over to me.
Hi, Laura. Oh boy, am I glad to see you.
He leaned in close to my ear and whispered,
That girl is kind of freaking me out. Please, can we get out of here?
Then to my surprise, he took my hand and led me away. I could see the shocked look on Anna's face, and I couldn't help but smirk back at her. Ha! Take that, Anna. He's holding my hand, not yours. Then after school, Jaden and I walked home together. Turns out, as well as being the hottest guy on the planet, he was also really sweet and funny. Back home, I saw Jaden's mom, Cynthia, watering her window box. On seeing us, she waved us over, then insisted on inviting me inside for homemade lemonade. We all got on so well. Looks like I'm going to have a boyfriend soon, one whose mom loves me. From then onward, Jaden and I hung out lots. We had lunch together, we went to the library together, and always walked home together. I was pretty sure the girls at school were super jealous, especially Anna. One day during PE, the teacher told us we were playing dodgeball and assorted us into 2 teams. Anna, who was on the opposite side, wouldn't quit aiming at me. I tried my best to dodge her throws, but bang! She got me! Now, listen to me. Guys like Jaden don't like ordinary girls like you. He's mine, so quit chasing him. Furious, I yelled, I'm not chasing him. He's already my boyfriend. Actually not. Yet I was pretty sure Jaden liked me too. Just you wait. He'll soon tire of you and come running to me. Ugh. Anna was so annoying. I needed to get my frustrations off my chest, so I ranted to Stella about her. Forget Anna. No one likes her anyway. As for Jaden, it's obvious he likes you. He's just new here and probably feels too shy to ask you out. Yeah, you're probably right. He must just be shy. But, I know Anna won't quit chasing him. Then you should make your relationship with Jaden official. Stella had a point. If Jaden was too shy to ask me out, then maybe I should take the initiative. Then Anna would have no choice but to back off. Ha! Tonight was the night. So I texted Jaden, I need your help with something. Let's meet at 8 p.m. by the slide in the park. But then he messaged back saying he couldn't meet tonight as he had to help his mom with something. Right that moment, my dad arrived home earlier than usual and announced that he was taking me and my sister Megan out for dinner. Ooh, this restaurant looked nice. I walked in alongside Megan and, huh? What were Jaden and his mom doing here? Then my dad walked over to Cynthia, kissed her on the cheek, and said,
Hello, honey.
Jaden and I shared astonished looks. Then we peered at the adults for an explanation.
Laura, Megan, this is Ms. Green, the lady I told you about.
What? I mean, I knew Dad was dating a woman named Ms. Green, but I had no idea she was Jaden's mom. Then, before we knew what was happening, Dad got down on one knee and pulled out this diamond ring, then asked her to marry him. And you know what? She said yes! Oh, no. No. They can't marry, 'cause then Jaden will be my brother. Megan looked delighted and hugged them both, while I stared at Jaden in bewilderment. Don't get me wrong, I really want my dad to be happy, but why her? And what about me and Jaden? After that, Cynthia seemed to always be at our house, baking cakes, humming while she dusted and cleaned up, and exchanging gooey looks with my dad. Ew. Then one day, she insisted that Megan and I went wedding dress shopping with her. She tried on this one dress, and yeah,
Okay, she looked pretty good in it. But when she asked me what I thought about it, I just shook my head and said, well, it's not very flattering, is it? She tried on several more dresses, but I managed to find fault with them all. Then, when I noticed how disheartened she looked, I patted her shoulder and said, "Don't worry, Cynthia. You can always postpone the wedding until you find a suitable dress." She looked a bit taken aback, but then she just smiled at me and said, "That's okay, Laura. I'm going to go with the first one." Ugh. Anyway, now the dress was chosen, so at least I could go home now, right? Wrong. As on the way home, we passed an arcade. Cynthia led us there and then excitedly challenged me to a game of air hockey. Then I said jokingly, "Fine, I'll play, but if you lose, you don't deserve to be my mother." And guess what? She won! Ugh! And worse still, Megan wouldn't quit giving me dirty looks for the comments I'd made. Jeez, I was just joking.
What is wrong with you today?
I plopped down on the couch and blurted out everything. She'd take my side, right? Turns out, no, she wouldn't.
What? You and Jaden aren't even official. But Dad loves Cynthia. They both deserve happiness, so stop being a brat about it.
Then she stormed off to her room. Ugh, I feel like I'm going crazy. I have huge feelings towards Jaden, and I know he feels the same. So why can't my sister be mature enough to understand that and support me? I needed to vent to someone. Luckily for me, I had Stella. Why does no one care about my feelings? I can't be Jaden's sister. Sorry, Laura. I don't know what to say. Suddenly, from the nearby table came a lousy voice.
So that's the reason why Jaden has to hang out with you? You're pathetic, Laura.
Turns out we were so lost in conversation, we didn't notice Anna and her flock sitting at the table behind us. Actually, we've been into each other for ages. It's not our fault our parents made some dumb decision. Anyway, whether we can be together or not, it doesn't change the fact that you bore him so much that he'd choose watching paint dry over being with you.
How dare you?
She was about to grab my hair, but right at that moment, a hand stopped her. It was Jaden. That afternoon, on our walk home, I finally came clean to Jaden. I like you a lot. I have always been since I first met you. I know you like me too, but you think it'll be awkward because our parents are getting married. Maybe if we just tell...
Laura, you're such a sweet girl. And I do like you. But just as a sister.
What? How could he say that to me? He had to like me. Didn't he? Feeling an unexplainable amount of shame and embarrassment, I ran away from him. As I lay on my bed and rubbed my tear-stained eyes, all I could think about was how unfair this was. So, by the time Dad called me down for dinner, and I walked in and saw how happy he looked, my anger got the better of me and I yelled, "I hate you, and I hate Cynthia! How dare you try and replace Mom?" Then I rushed back to my room.
You really upset Dad. You know that, right?
I didn't answer. I was also upset, but no one seemed to care about my feelings. Dad said we come first, so if you really feel this strongly about it, then he'll cancel the wedding. To be honest, I'm real mad with you right now. So? What about me?
You're so immature and selfish.
I didn't understand how my own sister could be so uncaring, so I screamed out. So what? You don't care that Mom's being replaced by some fake woman? And what about me? Why does no one care how I feel?
Oh my God, Laura, for once, this isn't about you.
Megan rolled her eyes at me, then stormed off. Finally, everyone quit going on about the stupid wedding. But why didn't I feel good about this? Cynthia didn't seem to be coming round to our house anymore, and I noticed how Dad's cooking seemed to get worse and worse. until he stopped altogether and just ordered takeout. Meanwhile, Jaden wasn't anywhere to be seen at school. Stella asked around to find out where he was, and turns out he'd left, as he was moving back to his old town. No way! After school, I rushed straight over to his house and barged inside to find him and his mum packing. Are you moving away? Yeah. I moved here to settle down and start a new life with Randall, and this house is for Jaden's future. But the wedding's been cancelled, so I quickly asked Jaden if we could talk outside.
My mom's cried so much. Randall's her soulmate, and she can't stay around here if she can't be with him anymore. The most annoying part is that she agrees with him that the kids must come first. So, I hope you're happy now?
Oh my God, what have I done? His words were like a stab to my gut. Oh no, this was all my fault. I was so obsessed with Jaden that I didn't stop to think about what was best for everyone else. Without saying another word, I ran back home and burst into the kitchen where Dad was drearily staring into his iced coffee. Dad, you deserve to be happy with Cynthia. So please go and tell her how you feel before she leaves for good. But it was too late. Cynthia and Jaden had gone. Just kidding! Nah, actually, Dad managed to catch Cynthia just in time, and he told her how much he loves her and can't live without her. So, guess what? Yep, they got married, and now they're both happier than ever. I've learned the hard way that being selfish and inconsiderate of other people's feelings for my own gain just makes everyone miserable, including myself. So now we're one big happy family. And I suppose having Jaden as a brother isn't actually so bad after all.
So, here I am, practicing this tricky pose. I must not fall over.
Rosie, straighten your back. Hang in there. You've got this.
That's Bradley, my yoga instructor. Can you see that? There are more than a dozen people in this class, yet he only seems to encourage me. Did this mean he liked me? I didn't need to look in a mirror to know my cheeks were lobster red right now. I'm Rosie, by the way, 18 years old. I'm still single. Not to brag, but I know I'm kind of pretty, friendly, and fun to be around. So it's easy to tell that many guys are into me. But why do none of them ever dare to confess their feelings to me? What were they so afraid of? Take Bradley, for instance. He clearly liked me, but was too shy to admit it. It was so obvious as he kept deterring past my mat just so he could check out my position. Even my best friend Joseph noticed that, as every time Bradley approached, Joseph would have this cheeky smirk on and send me signals with his eyes. I already told him not to do that. After class, Joseph kept teasing me about it. He told me Bradley definitely had feelings for me and just needed one more push for leverage. Although I reluctantly told him to stop, he insisted on being the wingman by texting Bradley about me.
Bradley, why don't you ask Rosie out? You two look really cute together. Come on, you know that wouldn't work. Huh? Why not? Because, Joseph, it's you I'm crazy about.
I was not okay. What was the problem with all the men around me? Why didn't they like me? I couldn't go on like this. I must have a boyfriend, and I was dead serious about it. So after researching online, I found a dating coach to save me from my tragic single situation. So Martin, my coach, is super handsome, has a six-pack, and his business is a big hit. He's helped hundreds of sad single people find love. Flashy enough to trust, isn't it? Still, I was quite nervous when I met him. You know, the feeling that a therapist would judge you before treating you. But actually, he was reassuring, very open, and didn't ask too many questions.
Let's just be open about this, all right? Manipulating someone into dating you is not the foundation to a healthy relationship. But don't worry, as I have the secret.
Day 1, and according to Martin, I needed to learn how to approach new people. I'm pretty shy, so taking the initiative was hard for me, but Martin taught me a trick. When I see a cute guy, I need to approach him within 3 seconds. This way my brain wouldn't have time to think, analyze, then talk myself out of it, and end up missing my chance. Okay, a hot guy was there staring at his phone. I must not overthink. 1, 2, 3, go. Hi!
Hi?
So I just saw you and I think you're really hot. I'm here to say hi. Thanks for thinking my boyfriend's hot, but he's taken. I panicked, then rushed back to Martin and spluttered out, I can't.
Hey, that was a success. You're just training your mind and body to take action. Go ahead.
No way. Should we move to the next step? And this was the next step. I just needed to start a conversation in this place where everyone was in a mood to have a chat.
It's simple, Rosie. Put yourself in a talkative mood. Go over to them and give them a compliment. But make sure it's genuine, else it won't count, okay?
Got it. I spotted a man sitting alone, so I walked over to him. Hey, I like your ring. OMG. Was that a wedding ring?
Don't worry. I'm single. And is it that hard to think of something to compliment me on?
And, you are smarter than you look. And yep, he left. Oh, what kind of compliment was that? Martin sat in a corner and watched me go from guy to guy and stutter out a string of terrible compliments.
You did great, Rosie. Don't be discouraged. Now, when you actually see someone you like, you'll be more natural.
Martin said that body language is a crucial part of keeping the conversation going. So, the plan was to practice this at Joseph's birthday party. This time Martin couldn't be there in person, but we still stayed in touch via my Bluetooth earphones so he could guide me. The mission today was to initiate physical contact with someone and make them feel close to me. Anyone who knows me knows that I am not good with these things. So I kept giving them this weird slap on the back.
Hey, I heard an ouch. Are you hitting them? I said just a light tap.
I don't think I can do this. I'm too shy. And now guys are giving me weird looks. Martin said this time I should make the boys take the initiative, and then things would come more naturally. Okay, I'll give it one last try. This boy I like, Nathan, is over by the pool, but he's in a group.
Nothing to worry about. You'll make him come to you. Now listen and follow.
I walked over to the bar and made sure I was in Nathan's eyesight, sat as naturally as possible, made eye contact with him, and smiled. Oh, Martin, this is stupid. He doesn't even know me.
Just wait.
OMG. He's waving at me. Should I come now?
No. Wave him over.
Okay. You should take responsibility for this, Martin. I waved Nathan over. Then, to my surprise, he got up and started walking toward me. OMG, help, what should I do?
Give a no-tooth smile. Then say, I just want to say hi.
What? That was all? But he was coming closer and I had no choice. I just want to say hi.
And I want to have your phone number, cutie.
I couldn't believe it. That was a real success. We texted the whole night. We got on so well. He was clearly flirting with me. This is crazy. But then 2 weeks passed by and I didn't hear from him at all. I kept on looking at my phone, expecting Nathan to call, but he never did. So I immediately rang my coach for help.
Ready for the bad news? So, that means he doesn't like you. A busy man like Napoleon could still write thousands of romantic love letters to his Josephine. If he was into you, he'd always find a way. And I also think he doesn't seem like a good type to date.
What? Nathan is such a sweet guy. Maybe he's just super busy? But then Christmas came and I couldn't wait any longer. I mustered up the courage to ask Nathan out. But guess what? He invited me to his house to enjoy Christmas with his family instead. Oh, wow. He wanted to introduce me to his family. This was massive. It meant he really took our relationship seriously, didn't he? But when we got to Nathan's place, to my surprise, it was just a small apartment and definitely not big enough for a whole family. Seeing my confused look, Nathan said his family must have changed their plans and went out, which was for the better as the two of us would have more time together. Suddenly, I saw a shadow of a girl in a red dress in his bedroom. Then Nathan immediately pulled me away and said,
That's my maid. How annoying. So, do you want to go to the hotel so we can have more time alone?
Really? Did he think I was born yesterday? I refused immediately, and Nathan began to change his attitude.
Okay, but I can't drive you home. I have something urgent. But don't worry, I'll take you to the nearby bus stop. I have never felt so stupid. Martin was right. Nathan wasn't serious about me. He just wanted to use me. But what went wrong? I did everything I could, but I kept failing again and again. No one liked me. I called Martin in tears, and he ended up driving there to pick me up right on Christmas Eve. I felt like the most tragic person ever. Martin was so patient. He turned the radio on so loud and didn't say anything until I finished crying and calmed down. Misread the signals again, huh? How could I have known? Well, I'm not saying this to make money off you, but looking at the current situation, I think you need to hire me for longer than you think. My love life may have sucked, but at least I had Martin. Here's my hope. He was the best coach ever, as he didn't mind answering my questions, and he always picked up the phone whether it was office hours or midnight. Then one night I was out with my friends. I drank a few too many wines and phoned Martin up and slurred out a load of drunken nonsense. He immediately came to pick me up and drove me home, saying that he needed to make sure I got home safely. He was such a sweet guy. I felt something, but then reassured myself that he was just being nice. But Joseph insisted that Martin was only acting this way because he liked me. Seeing everything he did, and you still have to wonder about his feelings? Dummy. Believe me, I'm not wrong this time. Mr. Sixpack is crazy about you. Congrats. Thinking about it, it did make sense. So I started stalking my coach on social media and daydreaming about him. Then taking Martin's own advice that I needed to make my feelings known. So, on Valentine's night, I myself made this box of chocolates and took them round to his. I took a deep breath, then rang the doorbell. But then standing at the door was him holding hands with another girl. I awkwardly said, Don't you like me? I mean, you taught me that when a guy likes a girl, he'll always be there for her. You picked me up in the middle of the night, and you always listened and comforted me when I was sad. You even brought me hot tea when my Aunt Flo came to visit. Doesn't everything match up? Rosie, I was just being nice. Sorry, but you've confused the signs. Again. I was totally dumbfounded. I couldn't face the thought of seeing Martin ever again, so I blocked him from my life. In the following days, I was under a variety of emotional states, from extreme stress, heartbreak, embarrassment, then disappointment because of my extra delusion. I struggled with insomnia almost every night and tried to bury my feelings by binge-eating junk food. Just 2 weeks later, I looked at myself in the mirror. There were dark circles under my eyes, my skin was dry and flaky, and I felt bloated and sluggish most of the time. Seeing myself like that reminded me of something Martin had said. How can you expect someone else to love you if you don't love yourself? I knew I needed to change, so I started eating more healthily, working out, and finding me time. And you know what? It worked. Now I can finally say that I see my own worth, and I'll never allow a man to treat me badly ever again. And if that means I stay single for a while, then that's the way it'll be. I guess I kinda owe Martin a lot. I mean, he did teach me loads. And now, even though I'm still single, I'm enjoying it. There are way more important things than having a boyfriend, right? But wait, was this barista winking at me? OMG, there's a Post-it with his number on my coffee cup. What should I do? Hey, dating a coffee guy is risky business. Why, coach? Imagine one day your relationship turns bad and you desire a cup of coffee to ease your heart out, but you also have to see him here. Awkward, huh? Indeed a pro. But so why are you making this awkward convo? Rosie, I may be a love coach, but even I get it wrong sometimes. When it comes to my heart, all theories are nonsense. Please, you show me how to love naturally. Well, as you can see, I'm dating my dating coach. But now, our love doesn't apply to any cliches. Instead, we just do us, and we're both happier than ever. If you're in a dating slump, then don't worry. Just let love happen when it happens, and follow